In the shadows of the Moonlight Pavilion, where silk whispers secrets of longing, love dances like the gentle breeze, intertwining fates beneath a veil of stars. Prince Lee Jihan, burdened by the weight of an impending throne and the expectations of a kingdom, hides his troubled heart behind an elegant silk mask. A prisoner of duty in a world where emotion is a perilous game. In stark contrast, Soo-jin, a humble silk weaver, toils unnoticed among the palace's opulence, her dreams woven from threads of hope and unyielding spirit. The laughter of courtiers echoes around her, yet her heart beats to the rhythm of destiny, yearning for a life beyond servitude. When a chance encounter ignites a spark between the masked prince and the overlooked girl, their worlds collide, challenging the very fabric of societal norms. Can their budding love survive the relentless clash of duty and desire? As shadows deepen and the stakes rise, will they dare to defy their fates, or will the weight of their roles tear them apart forever? Under the silver glow of the moon, the Moonlight Pavilion glimmered like a jewel in the heart of the Soo-jin palace. Its intricate eaves, adorned with delicate carvings of lotus flowers, whispered secrets to the evening breeze, while the faint scent of cherry blossoms permeated the air, wrapping the night in a sweet embrace. Prince Lee Jihan stood at the pavilion's edge, the silk mask upon his face concealing not only his identity, but also the burdens that weighed heavily on his heart. The whispers of the court were like shadows, ever present, ever judging. He was the prince, the heir to the throne, yet in the eyes of those who surrounded him he felt like a mere specter. The laughter that echoed through the halls felt alien, a stark contrast to the solitude that clung to him like a second skin. It was here, beneath the vast canopy of stars, that he sought refuge from the expectations that suffocated him. "Your Highness," a soft voice broke through his reverie. He turned, startled, to find a young woman standing just beyond the pavilion's threshold. Her handbag was simple, yet the fabric shimmered like the evening sky, hues of indigo and silver intertwining with her delicate figure. Soo-jin, the silk weaver, was a name often whispered in the corridors of the palace, though she was little more than a ghost to the nobility. "Forgive my intrusion, Your Highness," she said, her gaze averted, cheeks flushed with an unbidden warmth. "I was tasked with delivering a message." The way she spoke, soft yet resolute, drew him in, igniting something deep within his heart. "Speak freely," Jihan replied, his voice low, each word soaked in curiosity. The mask on his face felt like a barrier, yet he could sense a connection blooming between them, fragile yet unmistakable. She stepped closer, the moonlight casting a gentle glow upon her features, illuminating the delicate curve of her lips and the earnestness in her eyes. "There are murmurs among the servants," she began, her tone tinged with concern. "They say your father grows weary, that the court is restless. They fear for your future." Each word resonated with the weight of unspoken truths. How could this servant girl see through the facade he had crafted so carefully? He sighed, the burden pressing down upon him. Yet within her gaze, he found a flicker of understanding. "What do you think I should do?" he asked, surprised by the vulnerability that slipped from his lips. "Seek solace in your heart, Your Highness," Soo-jin replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do not let the throne steal your spirit." As she spoke, the moonlight danced upon her hair, casting an ethereal glow that made Jihan forget the world beyond the pavilion. He stepped closer, the distance that had once felt insurmountable shrinking with each heartbeat. "You speak as though you know me." "I know the weight of being unseen," she confessed, her gaze dropping to the ground, a flicker of pain crossing her features. "To be a servant in a palace that overlooks the heart of its people." In that moment, Jihan realized they were not so different. Two souls adrift in a world that sought to define them. The connection between them swelled like the tide, a force that compelled him to reach out, to bridge the chasm that separated their worlds. "Tell me about your weaving," he urged, drawing her closer. "What stories do you weave into your silks?" Her eyes sparkled with sudden light, and for a moment, the weight of the crown vanished. "Each thread carries the hopes of those who wear it," she said. her hands moving gracefully as if she were already at her loom. I weave dreams and memories, capturing the essence of life. Jihan felt the warmth of her passion envelop him, a balm to his weary soul. Then weave me a dream, Soo-jin, he said, his voice thick with longing. A dream where we are not bound by our titles. As their gazes locked, the air crackled with tension, an unspoken promise hanging between them. She stepped back, breaking the moment, the reality of their worlds crashing down like a wave. I must return to my duties, Your Highness. As Soo-jin turned away, her heart pounded in her chest, an ache blossoming within her at the thought of leaving him behind. The fleeting warmth of their connection lingered, like the soft glow of candlelight against the walls of the darkened pavilion. She knew the world outside awaited her, filled with the demands of her station and the careful dance of propriety. Yet, as she stepped back into the realm of whispers and shadows, she felt as though she had left a part of herself behind. Jihan watched her retreat, a knot of frustration tightening in his stomach. The prince, cloaked in the heavy fabric of his royal robes, felt the weight of his title more than ever. How could he seek solace in a world that forbade him from embracing the very person who understood his heart? The court's disapproval hung thick in the air, a constant reminder of the barriers that divided them. Days turned into weeks, and each evening, when the sun dipped below the horizon, Jihan found himself drawn to the secluded pavilion. He would wait, his heart racing with hope, longing for the moment Soo-jin would appear again. And she did, each time with a more radiant smile, her spirit woven into the fabric of her silks, vibrant and alive. On one such night, the air was cool and fragrant with the scent of blooming cherry blossoms. The moon hung low, a silvery orb casting its light over the two of them, bathing the pavilion in an ethereal glow. Your Highness, she greeted, her voice a soft melody that wrapped around him like a warm embrace. Soo-jin, he replied, his heart quickening at the sight of her. You look beautiful tonight. The compliment slipped from his lips, unbidden yet sincere, causing her cheeks to flush a deep crimson. Thank you, she murmured, her eyes shimmering like the stars above. The blossoms remind me of fleeting moments, beautiful, yet ephemeral. A silence fell between them, thick with unsaid words. Jihan took a step closer, the space between them a chasm he desperately wanted to bridge. What if we could capture a moment forever, he asked, vulnerability lacing his tone. What if we could defy the boundaries that separate us? Soo-jin's breath caught, her heart racing at the implication of his words. Your Highness, it is a dream far too dangerous for someone like you, she replied, a mixture of yearning and caution in her voice. The court would never accept a union between a prince and a mere servant girl. I care not for the court, he declared, his eyes fierce with determination. It is my heart that speaks, and it yearns for you, Soo-jin. He reached for her hand, their fingers brushing lightly, an electric jolt sparking between them. Her heart fluttered at the touch, but doubt clouded her mind. You must think of your duties. The throne. I am more than a throne, he interrupted, his voice raw with emotion. I am a man who feels, who dreams, and I dream of a life where I can hold your hand without fear. Tears brimmed in her eyes, the weight of his words crashing over her like a wave. But what about the expectations, the sacrifices? You would have to forsake everything for a life with me. Isn't love worth the sacrifice? He asked, his gaze unwavering. To be truly seen, to share a life unencumbered by titles. In your presence I am not just a prince, I am Jihan, a man in love. She searched his eyes, finding a sincerity that shook her resolve. You speak of love, yet the world is not so forgiving. I am but a weaver of silks, not a lady of the court. Our lives are entwined in different fabrics, and the seams may never hold. Then let us weave a new tapestry, he suggested, his voice a husky whisper. One where love can stitch together our differences, where your dreams and my duties can coexist. Soo-jin hesitated, the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. And if they discover us? She asked, her heart aching with the fear of losing him. If the court learns of our meetings, they will not only condemn us, they will tear apart everything we hold dear. I would fight for you, for us, he vowed, his grip tightening around her hand. As the moonlight bathed the pavilion in a silvery glow, the world outside felt distant and unreal, as if it belonged to another time. Jihan could hardly bear the thought of the court, of their judgmental eyes scrutinizing every move, every whisper. But in Soo-jin's presence, he felt a kind of clarity, an exquisite freedom he had never known before. Soo-jin's heart raced, torn between the intoxicating warmth of Jihan's affection and the icy grip of reality. "The risk is immense," she whispered, her voice trembling as she looked into his deep-set eyes that glimmered with unyielding resolve. "You have a kingdom to protect, a legacy to uphold. Let them whisper," he breathed, stepping closer until there was barely any space left between them. "Let them plot and scheme. I would rather face 1,000 enemies than live in a world without you." His voice, low and intense, sent shivers down her spine. She felt the pulse of her own heart as she met his gaze, the tension between them palpable, a silent promise hovering like the fragrant cherry blossoms above. "But it's not just your throne at stake, it's your family, your future. You'd sacrifice everything for a love they'll never understand." Her voice wavered, uncertainty creeping into her heart. "Isn't that what love demands?" Jihan replied, his voice steady, eyes shimmering with a fierce light. "To choose the heart over the crown, to fight for what truly matters?" Soo-jin's breath hitched at his words, her mind a tempest of emotions. The way he spoke, with such passion, made her feel seen, valued in a world that often overlooked her. Yet beneath the thrill of their connection lay an undercurrent of fear of the inevitable backlash from a court steeped in tradition and expectation. "Your Highness, what if they find out?" She pulled her hand away, clutching it against her chest, as if shielding her heart from the storm that was their reality. "What if they use this against you? Against the kingdom? Then let them," he declared, stepping closer again, his resolve unwavering. "I would rather stand as a mere man beside you than as a prince alone on a throne." The weight of his words settled between them, and for a fleeting moment the world outside faded away, leaving only the two of them, bound by an unspoken truth. Soo-jin closed her eyes, allowing herself to imagine a life where they could exist free from the shackles of duty, where love was the only rule. But the sound of a distant bell broke the spell, echoing through the quiet night and bringing with it the stark reminder of their realities. "The palace will soon be awake," she murmured, glancing toward the shadows lurking beyond the pavilion. "We must return before we are caught." Jihan's heart sank, the fleeting moment of intimacy slipping through his fingers like sand. "Can we not steal just one more moment?" He stepped closer, the urgency in his voice matching the rhythm of her own quickening heart. "Jihan," she cautioned, her voice barely above a whisper. Yet the way she said his name held a world of longing. "We cannot be reckless. You have to think of your duties, your future." He reached for her again, this time cupping her cheek with a gentle hand, his thumb brushing against her skin like a feather. "And what of my future without you? My heart will be a barren land, devoid of joy, without your laughter, without your dreams woven into mine." Soo-jin felt the warmth of his palm seep into her, melting her resolve. "You make it sound so easy," she replied, a mix of hope and despair in her voice. "But the court won't accept us. I am a servant girl, Jihan. They will never allow you to choose me." "Then let me change their minds," he insisted, his eyes glinting with determination. "I will show them that love knows no class, no rank, that we are more than our titles." As she searched his gaze, something stirred within her, a flicker of hope ignited by his unwavering belief in them. But the shadows of doubt crept in once more. As the distant bell tolled, signaling the approach of dawn, the air around the pavilion grew heavier with unspoken words and unfulfilled desires. Soo-jin's heart raced, caught between the intoxicating pull of Jihan's presence and the suffocating reality that lay beyond the fragile haven they had carved out for themselves. The vibrant blossoms surrounding them whispered secrets of love, yet they also bore witness to the stark divide that threatened to shatter their dreams. "Jihan," she breathed, her voice trembling as she pulled away slightly, creating a sliver of space between them. The longing in his gaze intensified, a burning desire that made her chest constrict. "What can we do? The court is unforgiving. They will see you as a traitor for even considering me." "Then let them see," he replied, his tone fierce yet softened by the vulnerability in his eyes. "I am prepared to fight for you, Soo-jin, for us." Her heart soared at his words, yet a deep-rooted fear clawed at her. She was a servant girl, one whose laughter could easily be silenced by the whispers of noble families seeking to uphold their precious traditions. "What if your father disowns you? What if—" Her voice faltered, the weight of potential loss suffocating her thoughts. "I would endure it all," he declared, stepping closer once more, his breath warm against her skin. "I have no throne without love. You have awakened a part of me that was hidden beneath layers of duty and expectation. Without you, I am hollow." Soo-jin's heart swelled, caught in the swell of his confession, yet a storm of doubt brewed within. She could not be the cause of his ruin, the one who led him to forsake his family and the crown. The image of her father, worn and weary from his own struggles, flashed before her eyes, deepening her turmoil. "Love is not meant to be a burden," she whispered, her voice shaking as she fought against the tide of emotion. "It should uplift, not tear down." "Then let us uplift each other," he urged, his hands finding hers, fingers intertwining as if they were meant to fit together. "I cannot imagine my future without you beside me. We will face the court together. If they see our love, they will understand." Soo-jin studied his face, the determination etched in his features. His belief in their love ignited a spark within her, but she struggled to hold on to it, afraid of the flames that would surely come. "What about your responsibilities, your duties to the kingdom?" "I will fulfill them, but I will do so with you by my side." His voice softened, coaxing her heart to open. "Will you stand with me, Soo-jin? Will you be the light that guides me through this darkness?" Her breath hitched as their eyes locked, a connection pulsing between them. She could see the sincerity in his gaze, a promise wrapped in vulnerability. It was a plea that unraveled the threads of her hesitation, weaving a tapestry of hope amidst the constraints of their reality. "Jihan, She hesitated, the words forming on her lips but retreating, battling against the fear that threatened to swallow her whole. "Just say it," he urged, his voice low and earnest. "I need to know you feel this too." Taking a deep breath, Soo-jin summoned the courage to step closer, the space between them dissolving like morning mist in the sun. "I do. I feel it. But how do we fight against a system that has existed for centuries?" His thumb brushed over her cheek, grounding her in that moment, pulling her back from the precipice of doubt. "Together," he whispered, the promise lingering in the air, binding them with invisible threads. "We will find a way, and I will not let fear dictate my choices." Just then a rustle from the shadows broke their cocoon of intimacy, and both turned sharply. It was the palace guard, his posture rigid, face masked with confusion. "Your Highness, what are you doing here?" Panic surged through Soo-jin, and she instinctively stepped back, her heart racing. Jihan, however, stood firm, his posture commanding yet protective. "I was merely taking a stroll, reflecting on my duties. Return to your post." The guard hesitated, his brow furrowing as he took in the sight of the prince standing so closely to a mere servant girl. The tension in the air felt electric, a silent declaration of defiance that sent a ripple through the shadows of the garden. "Your Highness," the guard repeated, his voice strained, "the court will be looking for you." Jihan's gaze remained locked on Soo-jin, the unyielding determination in his eyes igniting a warmth within her, despite the looming threat of the palace's judgment. "Then let them look," he replied, the edge of rebellion sharpening his tone. They must learn to accept what they cannot control. Soo-jin's heart pounded, torn between the intoxicating allure of his resolve and the bitter reality of their station. She took a small step back, breaking the spell of intimacy that hung in the air. "Jihan," she whispered, her voice trembling, "this is dangerous." "Love often is," he said softly, stepping toward her once more, grounding her with his presence. "But together, we can weather any storm." As they shared that moment, the moonlight bathed them in silver, illuminating the delicate features of Soo-jin's face. She could see the warmth in Jihan's eyes, the way the moonlight danced across his skin, casting shadows that mirrored the conflicts within their hearts. She longed to embrace that warmth, to drown in the depths of his sincerity, but fear clawed at her insides, relentless and suffocating. "Your Highness." The guard pressed again, his tone shifting from confusion to urgency. "The Queen Dowager has summoned you. It is imperative that you attend." With a reluctant sigh, Jihan pulled away, his fingers lingering on Soo-jin's hand before releasing her. "I must go, but this isn't over," he said, casting one last look at her, a promise in the depths of his gaze. "We will find a way." As he walked away, the guard remained, his eyes scrutinizing Soo-jin. She felt exposed, as if the very air had turned against her, and she desperately wanted to flee into the safety of her mundane existence. But Jihan's words echoed in her mind, a balm against the panic rising within her. The days that followed were filled with tension. Jihan was present at court, surrounded by nobles whose eyes bore into him like daggers, questioning his decisions, scrutinizing every move. He felt the weight of their expectations pressing down upon him, a constant reminder of the precarious balance he had chosen. Each time he stole a glance in Soo-jin's direction, he felt renewed resolve. Their connection was worth the risk. Soo-jin, too, felt the heaviness of court life, the whispers that followed her like shadows, the disdain that dripped from the lips of noble women who had once ignored her. They scorned her, their laughter sharp and cruel, but she met their glares with newfound strength. She was not just a servant. She was a woman with a purpose, a heart that beat fiercely for the man who saw her as more than a mere shadow. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the courtyard, Soo-jin found herself preparing tea in the palace kitchens. The aroma of roasted barley filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of blooming cherry blossoms that wafted through the open windows. She was lost in thought, recalling the warmth of Jihan's hands, the way his eyes shone with hope. Suddenly, the familiar voice interrupted her reverie. "Soo-jin," Jihan said, his presence like a gust of fresh air. He stepped into the kitchen, his attire signaling a rare moment of freedom from the suffocating expectations of the court. "Your Highness," she instinctively dropped into a low bow, her heart racing. "What brings you here?" "Just Jihan," he corrected gently, a smile breaking through his earlier tension. "I wanted to see you, away from the prying eyes of the court." Her cheeks flushed as she straightened, the intimacy of their shared moments flooding her with courage. "Is it wise?" she asked, glancing around as if the walls themselves had ears. "Wise is a luxury we can't afford," he replied, stepping closer, the air thick with unspoken words. The palace was alive with color and sound, the air filled with the fragrance of blossoms, mingling with the sweet aroma of rice cakes and the sizzling of traditional John frying in the kitchens. Today marked a momentous occasion, the wedding of Soo-jin and Jihan, a union that was born from whispered conversations and blossomed amidst the shadows of courtly disdain. The vibrant silk of the hanbok worn by the guests glinted under the sun, a stark contrast to the darkened corners of their past. Soo-jin stood at the entrance of the grand hall, her heart racing as she took in the sight before her. The hall was adorned with peonies, their petals as vivid as the love she felt swelling within. She wore a resplendent red hanbok embroidered with golden phoenixes, symbolizing her rise from the shadows to take her rightful place beside the man she loved. Her hair, intricately styled with delicate hairpins, glimmered like stars against the afternoon light. Jihan stood at the altar, clad in a royal hanbok that reflected his new status. Yet it was his eyes that held her captive. In that moment, He was not just a prince, but a man who had chosen her against all odds. As their gazes locked, the world around them faded, and all that mattered was the promise of forever they were about to make. The wedding ceremony began, steeped in tradition. Elders recited blessings, their voices echoing through the hall, resonating with the hopes of a nation. As Soo-jin walked down the aisle, the sound of the traditional gyeongyeom played softly in the background, weaving a melody that spoke of love and unity. She could feel the weight of the past, of scorn and dismissal, but with each step she cast it aside, walking toward a future filled with light and acceptance. When she reached Jihan, their fingers intertwined, a spark igniting between them. They bowed to one another, a gesture filled with respect and deep understanding. As they exchanged vows, the vows echoed the tumultuous journey they had traversed together, a testament to their love, forged in the fires of adversity. "I promise to stand by you, to face the world together and to love you fiercely," Jihan declared, his voice steady and unwavering. Soo-jin felt tears prick at her eyes, the sincerity in his words wrapping around her heart. "And I vow to support you, to nurture our dreams and to love you always," she responded, her voice a whisper of hope that resonated with the gathered crowd. The moment the elder tied the red thread, symbolizing their bond, the hall erupted in applause. But the applause was not just for the union of a prince and a commoner. It was a celebration of change, of hearts once hardened, now softened by the power of love. Noblewomen who had once scorned Soo-jin now smiled with genuine warmth, their eyes reflecting the transformation that was taking place within the kingdom. As they shared their first kiss as a married couple, Jihan lifted her gently, a move that elicited cheers and laughter. He spun her around, and in that exhilarating moment she felt as though they were soaring above the palace, breaking free from the shackles of societal constraints. As the festivities continued, the court embraced Soo-jin not merely as a queen, but as a beacon of hope.